behalf of Kalpataru, I would really like to welcome you all to the second season of Inspire series. Inspire series is a conversation series which I started in 2016, and I would call it pre-pandemic era now. And it started with this intention to understand the journey of legendary artists and how they could make wherever they are right now and what it takes to be there and how they can inspire us to pave the same way. So that started with really legendary artists of our field. Started with Srimati Sujata Mahapatra in 2016, and at that time it was not an Insta Live or Facebook Live, so it was all pre-recorded, and you can find all those videos in our Kalpataru YouTube channel. And later on in 2020, when this pandemic hit us, I revived it, and we had season 1 of Inspire series, which was a Facebook Live event, and we had so many wonderful senior artists in that season, including Rama Vaidyanathan, including Shubhendra Raoji, and so many others, and those who are following us would know. And all those series are also there on our YouTube channel of Kalpataru. And now that we are into the third wave, and we are still waiting our doors to open so that we all can come back to stage. So I thought this is a good time to again revive it, especially on this time when all of us need certain kind of motivation. Not only me, and I would like all my students to get motivated, because times are difficult, but the more you listen to the stories of such inspiring stories of people who have made it, it really makes you feel worthwhile to spend some time and be with your art and be convinced that it will take you somewhere. So with this thought, I thought of reviving this series again, and here I am today starting the second season of Inspire series, and it is this time dedicated to the young maestros of our country. And I'm very, very happy to start the series with a very, very young, talented virtuoso that you all know is a sarod player, Indrayuddh Majumder, who is going to join us in some time. And please be with us and ask your questions. I can see so many young artists joining us. Roman Das, thank you for joining. Chitragrapher, thank you for joining. Aishwarya Kathak, thank you for joining. And just be with us so that I can invite our guest, Indrayuddh, and we will start the session. And you please can ask any questions that come up to your mind. Let me send him a request. Hello, Indrayuddh. Are you able to hear me?
Hi, Namaskar. I can see you.
Namaskar. Yeah.
And
So,
happy Republic Day, not only to you, but all of you who are watching over here.
absolutely. I also started with that because it's a wonderful day to start this new
Right.
session that we are initiating. And thank you so much, Indrayuddh, for coming in on a holiday. I'm sure that
It's
you
a
were.
holy day for all of us Indians.
Of course, it seems to be a holy day. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining in.
Pleasure is
And
mine.
uh, and I have already given a little bit of intro about you, and everybody is quite well acquainted with your work that you are doing. And without much ado, I would really like to start the session, and I would like to ask a simple question, Indrayuddh. You are the young face of Indian classical music today. So I would like to ask that, was this a conscious decision of you coming into taking sarod as your profession, or is it something which has shaped out of being born in a family of a legendary living legend? So was it a conscious decision for you?
I would rather term it as my inorganically organic decision, because I didn't start with the pursuit of being a musician per se, like a musician, a professional musician. I was never into the professional thinking methodology of the classical pursuit. I had always learned it, of course, in the right from my childhood. I had started learning Indian classical music from my grandfather, later from my father. I've practiced, but later on, when I was in my teens and when I grew up in my college, and I was completely into academics. I was working after my MBA, and it's a completely different line. It's a completely different ball game. Then several things happened within my conscience, within my outlook, within my reach, within my vision, and then I actually somehow have come to this part of this
Hmm.
field.
Hmm. So very interesting and that means that being for all those who are watching, I just would like to say that those who don't know, he is the son of legendary Sarod artist Pandit Tejindranath Majumdar, and being born in such
Narayan,
a
Tejendra Narayan,
Narayan,
right?
Rajendra Narayan, yeah. So being born in such a legendary family, it's a very rare to, generally it is heard that they take up the profession very naturally. And what you are saying, that it has come to you after you have uh, realized something from within. Is it
Right,
so? That's what you
right,
were
right.
trying
Absolutely,
to say. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
So
Nobody
it was never
ever
forced
forced
on
me
you.
into this.
Hmm.
It was never forced on me by any of my family members or anybody. It is a pretty much
Hmm.
organic, but it came pretty inorganically after
Hmm.
this,
Hmm.
experiencing so many
Hmm.
things.
Yeah. So does that mean that the continuous being in that atmosphere of music, it must have propelled you, that the realization that you had after even having your profession, academic training, or you did your MBA. So there is this exposure to music throughout since your childhood must have created the difference. Is that so?
Uh, the best part, and for me, it is my most blessed advantage, is whoever I have mixed with, or whoever have come to my house since I was a child, or whoever house or whoever place we were going since I was a child, was either a legend or a maestro in some way or the other. So my uncles in my own relation are not as close as my uncles who are the legends and maestros over here across India
Absolutely.
and across genre. So that has
Mm,
been my biggest blessing. And what
mm,
happens is, for a child, it doesn't matter what you are studying or what you really
mm,
want to do, but it really matters in which environment you have been brought up. So it always
true.
has been
Mm,
inside my number one DNA. Second one is my conscience. So that is
mm,
the natural thing for me is, of course, mixing and performing with the musicians or the dancers. So that has always been
mm,
like this for me. It has not really
mm,
been pretty uh, formal per se, but
mm,
so informally, so casually. Everything is I have talked
mm,
for hours, for days, for months, and for years with
mm,
only the legends and maestros and other musicians, or the
mm,
other musicians or other learners or the other students of
mm,
music. So that
mm.
has been pretty natural for me.
Wonderful, wonderful. What a blessed life. So now, Indrayuddh, I would like to ask that now that you have taken it as a profession consciously, where do you think that, being a young musician, where do you think our Indian classical music is going towards? And especially I would say that from the point of view of you as a musician and also a music presenter, I would say, and who is wonderfully working towards not only performing yourself but bringing everyone together and making an effort to be heard by so many people. So, how does that happen to you, and where do you see our music taking place in world music, stage or you know, publicly?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's a very relevant question right now. There are two phases to this answer. First phase ends in 2020 February. The second phase starts March 2020 onward. So till 2020, I can vouch for the fact that
Hmm.
Indian classical music has become or was becoming, still, it is becoming so popular among the youth
Hmm.
across the world. I can see some fantastic young musicians, Sharaj, Mehtab, all
Hmm.
joining and they were watching. I hope you all guys are watching still. So they are some of the finest presenters, the representatives of the generation just after mine. But still, we are in the same generation. They may be a bit younger
Hmm.
to me, but still in
Hmm.
the same
Hmm.
generation. But all these practitioners and all these presenters are working so beautifully across the globe.
Hmm.
It's a remarkable thing. We have always had brilliant young musicians, but we have seen more brilliant young musicians getting faded away with time.
Absolutely.
But I
Absolutely.
am
Yeah.
sure these musicians will always
Hmm.
stay and will always shine across the globe in this particular art.
Hmm.
Me being number one, a performer, second, being a presenter, I have always thought, being a presenter, I've always thought and I've always believed of presenting more and more young musicians and dancers together, and also the most, you know what to say, how should I say the term, like not only the most influential uh, in terms of the performances or in the terms of the music or the dance quality, but also the most prominent faces
Hmm.
and the
Hmm.
most followed musicians, so that
Hmm.
the musical standard can
Hmm.
always remain to this part and it
Hi.
shall never come
Yeah.
down, so that the
Hmm.
young musicians can always set their standards so high,
Hmm.
seeing or
Absolutely.
witnessing the best of the best of the best musicians and dancers across India,
Hmm.
so that
Hmm.
nothing below this should be focused on.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
this is something which I've always believed in. Secondly, me being a musician myself, I have always wanted to keep this standard high for my music. I have just started. I do not know in which life I'll be able to reach to this standard. I am just nowhere, but I'm still trying. I shall always try to, reach this benchmark. And I'm
Hmm.
so happy so many of my young colleagues and so many of my senior colleagues have and are, excelling globally with this music.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now, the second part, I'm coming to this into the phase two, which is after the pandemic has struck, everything,
Hmm.
the entire focus has come down to
To the
the digital and the digital aspect of the concerts, digital aspect of our promotions, everything. Like we have never focused this much before. So now
absolutely.
what is happening is like we are pretty equipped with the digital broadcasting. We are very much equipped with how the audiences want us in the digital space, because performance on a physical stage and performance on a digital stage are not really the same. In 2020 we used
Absolutely.
to believe that these might be
Hmm.
the same, but actually
Hmm.
not. We are realizing, it is very,
Hmm.
very different for a person's attention to be grabbed on a digital space than a person's attention to be
Person.
grabbed on the live stage. Because there are so
Absolutely.
many differences in ambience, so many differences of other factors irrelevant to the musical part, but those are actually relevant to the performances bit.
True.
So,
True.
so we have, and all of these fantastic young musicians and dancers have focused and are excelling globally, on the digital space. But there is never an end to these explorations. So we all, and we shall always be exploring on the digital space too. But I would rather prefer to add the term TOO2 to this, like digital space too, not only the digital space. We will be on the physical stage very soon. So that has to
it's
be,
going to be a hybrid kind of.
Yeah, of course, it should be a hybrid, because digital space has a larger audience base, but a lesser attention span.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The physical stage has a lesser audience base, but a greater attention span. So we have to trade off all of these
that
things,
is so
which are
prerequisite. Yeah, absolutely.
So we have to trade off between these two things, not compromising with our musical qualities and our tradition. So there are more aspects, more aspects have to be considered now.
So wonderfully said that, especially post-pandemic, the things has changed so drastically, and especially in field of, I would say, from the point of view of a dancer, that for us, it has changed 360 degrees. I would say that the same content we were performing on stage is no more relevant for a digital space. So the content concept has absolutely changed. And but it's very interesting to see that how generation now is really focusing on exploring these ideas, which were there for us before also, but we were never able to focus because we were not so exposed to it like the way we are right now. So
necessity is the mother of invention.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Also innovation. So
absolutely.
Perhaps we are not inventing something, but we are innovating in our space.
Absolutely. And that's that's the need of the time, and we would definitely have to explore it much further. Now coming to Indrayuddh, coming to your part as a musician, and so many young students and performers are also watching. So I would like to ask that what would you say to the people who are wanting to take it as a profession but are really scared for whatever reason that you would understand what I'm trying to mean in terms of commercials of this field, and also in terms of sudden uncertainty which this pandemic has brought us. So what would you like to say to those who are really willing to want to come to this profession but are scared in some way or the other?
Yeah, many people and many seniors with whom I've talked to along these 2 years have been pretty skeptical about these things. But me belonging to this generation, which is like closer to the generation coming next, who are actually wanting to pursue Indian classical music as a profession, I am pretty optimistic because I for myself can see that if you are equipped enough mentally for what is coming next. Second, technologically, you are pretty equipped regarding your presentation of your art or art form. Third, you are equipped with the right process and the right music or the right form of dance. And fourth, if you are pretty innovative in your ideas so that you can present your art form, be it music or dance, in a way or in a format or in a presentation which will be adept to this particular broadcasting medium, which is the digital and also the physical, probably at the same time or probably not at the same time. Depends on which wave we are going of this COVID. But I'm sure like anybody who is actually having the determination to reach out to the audience he or she wants to reach out to, or to the wider audience base, I am pretty confident. I'm taking myself for example, we can actually win this game. It is
Mm.
absolutely a prominent and is a positive thing. Nothing to worry about because we have nothing to lose. We have nothing to lose. So
Mm.
it just needs more determination. It just needs more, you know, willpower.
Absolutely.
And also, of course, for many, this is not easy to sustain these waves only with music. But
Mm.
there are numerous options which is coming out right now
Mm.
across the globe of performing and earning
Mm. Mm.
digitally. So we are
Mm.
having so many options right now, so which is actually working brilliantly. But
Mm.
the sky is the limit. There is no end, or there's no end to the scope of this possibility.
Mm.
So I am pretty sure, it is absolutely okay. Phases,
Mm.
bad phases come and go, but the determination
Mm.
and the vision will always remain the same.
Mm. True. This is so wonderful to hear even such optimistic viewpoint because
I'm
most
just
of us.
adding one more. I'm just adding one more
Yeah.
thing for any
Mm.
investment banking, for any in the
Mm.
profession of
Mm.
investment banking, or maybe in the profession of stocks. You know,
Mm.
there have been
Mm.
so many rough patches. There
Mm.
have been so many downfalls across the globe in the markets, but
Mm.
that has never deterred the
Mm.
determined investors or the determined traders or the determined investment bankers to stop or
Mm.
not entering into the profession. We have seen
Mm.
so many downfalls in so many centuries. So
Mm.
it is okay, these phases come and go. So had that
Ab-
stopped so many investment bankers or so many investors during the Lehman Brothers crash in the US, we wouldn't have had any investor left across the globe right now. It's okay. It's absolutely okay.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, that's what we need to hear more, like to be convinced that this is just a phase, and moreover, um, as you rightly said, that in any field it happens, and one thing is for sure, one has to be determined and one has to have a strong will to keep moving forward. Otherwise, it becomes really difficult. But that is where I think your art helps, your passion for the art helps to keep you grounded, keep you, staying with whatever you are doing. So, yes, it's wonderful to hear that. Now, Indrayuddh, like as you said, that it's going to be a rough phase, but with this digital, explosion which has suddenly happened post-pandemic, there is also, as you said, that reachability has increased. Of course, everybody today can reach out to their audience, but how do one, in terms of commercials and in terms of keeping a standard, right?
Hmm.
Where everybody is, everybody has this tool of mobile and has this tool of digital mediums to reach out to their audience. How do you think that the standard can be maintained where earlier it used to have certain filters, right, to reach out to the right kind of, artists, or the connoisseurs could reach out to the artists who are really have attained that benchmark. But today it's easily available and anything and everything is served. So how do you look into that?
Uh, for anything to be pursued in the right way, I always believe that that thing needs to be viewed at a distance, in the beginning. And then it
Mm.
has to be reached. It has to be like the student has to reach that particular person or the guru or that legend or master or whatever,
Mm.
so that he or she can learn it or pursue it properly. Now, the question which you have raised is absolutely relevant because there are so many options and so many irrelevant artists who are actually exploring this YouTube or Facebook or whatever space or Vimeo or Insta. So it is always difficult for a non-musician or a non-dancer or not music understanding or not dance understanding people to understand
Mm.
from whom
What?
not to learn or whom not to follow.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
what happens is this free flow of or this free flow of these talents in the beginning, like once anybody starts to get deeper inside the art form, after a
Mm.
few years of practicing or understanding or learning, he or she understands that he or
Mm.
she has learnt it wrong. you
Mm.
know it has to take you some way. It has to take you either to this direction that okay, you are doing fantastic or you're learning fantastic or you're learning nothing, you better stop it. So there is nothing in between, right? So it is absolutely okay not to be informed in the beginning, but once you learn, and since there are so many videos and so many options of the better musicians and the better dancers also on the YouTube, everything comes on the suggestions, and every person knows or like can understand or can actually understand to learn or to hear or to watch and understand that this is good and this is bad with time. In the initial phases, not many people can understand which is not really good or which is absolutely superb or which is very mediocre. It's very difficult for anybody to understand in the beginning, but later on, once somebody delves into the subject and goes on for a long time, he or she can absolutely understand who is brilliant, who is not.
Mm.
So, of course, we cannot
Yeah.
stop
So,
anybody from not following or from not loving somebody in the beginning, but that is okay. That is okay. As long as
yeah.
he or she is watching, or as
Mm.
long as he or she is hearing our art form, the art
Mm.
form is winning.
Yeah. So there is a bit of challenge, of course, that what kind of an audience is getting created through this
Right.
over
Yeah, of course.
explosion. There's a bit of a challenge wherein this, you know, eh, side by side, we all are artists and we are creating in our own way our own audience.
Yeah.
And in that way, I feel that it is quite a bit challenging when everything is overflowing and over exploding. So yeah, you rightly said that we cannot help it, but yes, what we can focus on the just bringing in what we produce and what we create
I'm telling you,
in
I'm
that.
giving a very
Mm,
interesting analysis. Like
yeah.
when we were starting to spot smartphones
Uh-huh.
in India, is
Mm,
a very relevant example. We have had so many other options, not only the
mm,
iPhones and Samsungs and Sony or whatever, but also so
mm,
many Chinese versions.
yeah. Mm,
And people used to love those. And okay, my phone has 6 speakers, my phone has 8 speakers, and in some phases, not only smartphones, but before the smartphones, and there were these Chinese phones which had almost 12 speakers, one camera, and which is like 3 megapixel or something. So we were so happy and excited with that Chinese phones actually exploded the Indian market. But
mm,
at that time, Nokia was already selling their phones. It's not that Nokia wasn't there. At that time,
mm.
Samsung was also there.
Yeah.
So, but that
Yes.
has वो रहे नहीं, वो गए, वो गुजर गए. अभी है नहीं वो
Correct.
सब.
There are
It's gone.
short-lived.
So
Yes. Yes. Yes.
these things
Mm.
actually live in the short term.
Yes.
Now
Absolutely.
still
Mm.
Samsung is there,
Uh,
iPhone is there,
yeah.
right? Gioni has
Right.
come. Gioni is nowhere right now. You can understand, right? Anything which is more attractive but which doesn't have the absolute benchmark quality will never live in the market.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
So it's a very
So,
relevant example. So there's no need to feel demotivated. If anybody needs to be in this trade, deliver
yeah,
the best and
yes,
repeat it.
true, wonderful. So, yeah, there are many people who are asking also a few questions. I think I missed it because in between the conversation, it becomes a little difficult to focus. But please, if you have any questions, all those who are watching us, if you would like to ask anything, do drop in on the comments. Indrayuddh, now what is your venture and And in terms of music making, also, if you would like to share, what are you focusing on? What are you creating these days?
I am actually focusing. I have never got the opportunity to get my father, my guru, so long in,
Mm,
every time, like every day he's with me.
yeah,
Like, so I'm
I can
focusing
understand.
on understanding him more, understanding his music more, and learning from him. And very unfortunately, I have lost my other guru from whom I had started learning the
Mm,
nuances of rhythm and laya, Pandit
mm.
Shubhankar
Shubhankar.
Banerjee Kaka. But had he been here, I would have actually been enriched even more. But anyway, but I am so happy that I am getting my main guru, like my father, with
Mm,
me, and getting to understand more of him, more of his music.
mm,
So this is a good thing which I'm focusing on right now. And uh, every cloud has a silver lining. So many concerts are getting postponed and cancelled,
mm.
and postponed is 90% cancelled. Like postponed, whenever somebody says it's like 90%
It's nice.
cancelled. Yeah. So, but that actually enables me to focus 100% on the practice and the learning. And I have actually done pretty much a good number of ventures on the online digital space in 2020 and 21 in the beginning initial part. Then I have taken, like, I'm just performing digitally for
Mm-hmm.
the concerts which are the paid ones and the good ones. And I am currently focusing only on performing, and I'm composing my own stuff, which I have plans, like we are rehearsing. I have plans of presenting in the physical space or in the hybrid space, but not only in the digital space. It is
Mm,
there, but
mm.
let's see.
Yeah. Yeah. So one has to be creatively engaged, otherwise it has to be, if you're not performing for a long time and it is at times takes your energies away. So it's very
No,
important
it is
for,
it is very
mm,
important to channelize the energy,
yeah,
or I will
that's
become a
what I'm
very
saying.
very good critique, which I do not want to. So if I don't channelize it pretty
Oh,
hard
I
right now,
never knew that you have that
no, no, no,
inclination
no.
also.
No, no, I do not have this inclination, and really fear that I should not ever become a critique. If I do not get to channelize my energy right now, not only for me, anybody becomes a very good critique, which is actually also very essential, but that is not my vision right now.
Yeah, yeah. Very interestingly and very witfully said, but because we don't have, what we say, Khali Dimag Shaitan Ka Ghar in Hindi,
Yeah, there are
you
two
know.
types of artists. One is the performer, the second one, sorry, three types. One is the performer, the second one is the scholar, and the third one is the critique. All are important. No, no, I'm not joking. All are
Wonderful.
important, but my vision is like performer and composer.
Yeah,
I'm happy with that.
wonderful. Wonderful. So, would you like to share any tips with any of the young artists who are listening to you in terms of how do you do your riyaz or in terms of how do you uh, channelize your energies that right now that we are discussing?
Yeah, what I think, like how I do is like repeated listening of not only the persons whom I admire, adore, or I follow, but also repeated listening of your own performance, of my own performance, of
Excellent.
analyzing every 20 seconds or every 15 seconds of analysis, like, of
Mm,
of maybe a 1.5 hour performances. I actually love to analyze every 15-20 seconds of my performance, so that I do
mm,
not repeat the same mistake the next day,
mm,
or I
mm,
can perhaps enhance it the next day for every 15-20 seconds. So,
mm,
taking out a large chunk and fragmenting in blocks of 15 to 20 seconds, that actually
mm,
helps. And
mm,
I'm sure, like, for all the young performers who are watching, and I'm sure this will also help. And I'm sure they always do this. It is nothing uncommon, it is very common, it is very much needed for all of us.
Mm. Yeah.
And
So,
and every
yes.
other tip everybody knows. So I'm no exception
Still,
to
you
that.
can repeat, as you said, that repeating is a good habit. So
I
still you can.
myself, yeah, repeating, but I said that I do not want to become a good critique. So if I repeat more, I'll become a critique. So I want to repeat my practice and these things more so that I become a better player, performer.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so. I would say that once you, in terms of when you talk about your personal experience that you are getting into your riyaz, and the more you talk about it, the more you feel that how, I personally feel so that when I talk to my students about the way of how you can motivate yourself or how you are supposed to do riyaz and all that, I most of the time have start reflecting on myself. So this is how the
Yeah, that
crossed,
helps.
this is how it happens that you start uh, criticizing yourself in your own mind, maybe. So
Yeah, I do not criticize. I critique myself. I love to
yeah, that
critique myself,
that
and
that would be the right word.
thankfully,
Mm.
both my parents are the critiques. You know, so
One should
thankfully, I'm
have
so blessed.
definitely. Yeah,
I'm so blessed
that's
to have them. I have never heard one single good performance from them. They have said that I have performed well. So that
appreciating
is the
you.
best thing. That is the best thing.
Mm.
I after every performance I feel frustrated, and that has been consistent for the
Yeah,
last
yeah,
so many
yeah, yeah.
concerts I've played. After every
Yes.
performance, I have felt,
Yeah.
oh my God, what the hell have I done in this concert? Like that. So, and then, reanalyzing the next, the previous concerts every 15 seconds block,
Mm.
if I have the recording of it, or if
Mm.
I do not have, coming home, returning home before falling asleep, thinking or analyzing what have I played or how I have played. So that actually helps for my next performance. And
Yeah.
thinking of the next performance and not thinking of the concert which I'll be playing probably in a huge auditorium in some big
Mm.
city, maybe set after 6 months, is most important. It is not needed to think so far.
Mm.
I follow Sachin Tendulkar a lot. He has always said, like somebody had asked him in an interview that when you had started your career, have you ever thought that you would be making 100 centuries? Have you
Mm.
focused on that? He said that I have never focused even for the century
Mm.
of my next match. No, I have always focused
Mm.
on the next ball, the next
Absolutely.
delivery. That is absolutely essential.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so many musicians and so many dancers are performing and excelling so beautifully. So that is
Mm.
actually number one, a challenge. Second one, a huge opportunity for the
Mm.
exploration of myself. That how to
Mm.
lead your music or how to play.
Mm.
So
Mm.
that is excellent. That is excellent. I'm really loving, and I really love that. And
Mm.
I'm learning
That's
from everyone. And with this advent of social network, I'm always updated about what exactly somebody's performing, not only in
mm.
sarod but also in vocal or in kathak, everything.
Mm.
So everything is
Mm.
is a
Mm.
good thing, being updated.
Yeah. Yes. Becoming smaller and smaller, and things are really coming into our fingertips now. And the interesting part is that, as you said, I personally feel this that the generation, your generation, and also I would take my generation into it, a little elder ones. But I feel that our generation is a generation of bringing people together. That's where I feel very optimistic about,
Yeah.
and where I feel that there is a kind of synergy that works in our generation, where we want to support each other, we want to bring in uh, our passion for Indian classical music, art, dance, everything to a better platform, to make it more reachable. And somehow we have felt that though there were gems of artists in our field, but there were many gems who were not heard, who were
Hmm.
not, who, as you rightly said, that have waned out. So, in this way, I feel our generation is bringing in people, exploring, as many, and as you are also one of the artists who is not only an artist but also an entrepreneur in your thumbs, wherein you are bringing in people to uh, experience the world of creating audience for the world of performing arts. And I can see many young artists who are not only artists but are also presenters, because somewhere we felt that it has to be, we have to take charge.
Absolutely.
Do you think? Yeah, because there,
I
yeah,
hear, like, I've always heard that, and I still hear from
mm,
my friends in other fraternities, not of Indian classical music or dance, that they have this unified um, factors, like, in which they can speak out to,
mm,
or they can represent. So I have always felt the dearth of representation in a
mm,
unified format in our field.
yeah,
Unfortunately, uh, several indigenous musicians have taken several efforts of unifying our previous generations, but not many have succeeded in this regard for a long time, in the long
mm,
term. But I sincerely believe that this is the only force which can actually make us stand out
mm,
and become focused on in the national and international space.
absolutely.
So, for not only for presenting or performing, but also for sharing our problems, sharing different issues, and getting national support, national attention, from the governments, from international agencies, which actually
Mm,
have been working
mm,
on different trades, but not really on Indian classical music and dance. So this is the only way
mm,
out of
mm,
unifying
mm,
across the country all the musicians and dancers in whichever form or in whichever
mm,
stage of their
mm,
career, so that this particular genre can become one unified force, irrespective of the, maybe not like a Delhi musician or a Bombay musician or a Bangalore musician or a Chennai musician. No.
mm, mm,
So if a Kolkata musician is getting affected, a
mm.
musician from Mangalore also should feel that my trade or my fraternity is affected.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So if that like, how to say it, like
Connect
a message,
or
connection, and
yes,
the becoming one with all the other
yeah,
musicians and dancers, that feeling,
yes.
that
Mm.
empathy can be
The
grown and can be
community,
developed.
yeah, yeah.
So then only this particular industry can actually become the face of the music and the dance in India across the world in the next few decades. But it needs at least a few
Mm,
decades for this
mm,
recognition. It doesn't mean that I
mm,
can unify with 100 other musicians today, and tomorrow
mm,
onward everybody would be following us. No, it
mm,
is not possible.
mm,
It
mm.
requires a continuous
Continuous effort
and
towards
and
it. Mm.
a continuous effort. It is needed to be in that spirit, in that right spirit. So that is extremely essential.
Yes, yes, very rightfully said that, other than having a community and having an approach which is collaborative in nature, because now is
Yeah.
the time where nature has given us this huge blow, wherein we must learn this, that the only way forward is through collaboration, through developing a community and bringing the forces together, so that you can make a mark, make a mark in a
Yeah.
global sphere. Otherwise, it's a very individualistic approach, which has been taken and which is not taking us anywhere. So it has been tried and tested and it has not worked. So it's better that we come together and create a platform for all of us and synergize in a way that, it can take a
This
beautiful shape.
synergy is always beneficial, and that is
Mm,
the only way.
mm,
So
mm,
instead of
mm,
repenting for what
mm,
our previous generation musicians could not, in spite of several
mm,
efforts, we
mm,
need to
mm.
work out and we need to wipe out these differences.
Absolutely.
So,
Mm,
we have to work on these, unifying things. This is the time for this.
true. So I'm really, really hopeful, and I'm really. It was really wonderful to hear you, Indrayuddh, because not only as a musician but also as a thinker who is thinking in these ways, because it's not uh, very natural um, to have a musical mind and also to have a mind which works on this, you know, effort of unifying or building a community. It's a I would say two different mindset which has to come together to create a platform of such uh, relevance. So it was really, really wonderful to hear ideas and anything you share now from.
No, no, no. I'm like, like I have already said so many stuff, and I'm sure that these probably would actually help my colleagues or
Mm.
my juniors. But I'm so thankful that we have had some healthy conversation. Thank you, thanks to you, and really looking forward to speaking with you soon regarding other stuff.
Definitely, and it was really wonderful to, have this conversation wherein so many people have joined. I would really like to thank all those who have joined. They have left comments, and few questions were there which I am not able to locate right now. So sorry for that. You can, still comment it after we log off. So thank you so much, Indrayuddh, once again for giving your time, for sharing such wonderful ideas, and I'm really looking forward to your new ventures, your new work, your creative approach towards your music. And thank you so much and have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you, and the pleasure is mine.
We will see you soon. Yeah. Thank you for
Bye.
sharing your
Bye.
thoughts, Neha. Thank you, Sneha, and thank you, everyone. Bye bye. Please take care
Bye bye.
and happy Republic Day again. Bye.
Bye.